Chapter 842, The Power of Full Boy! Hello everyone and welcome to this week's episode of the Pod D Cast, featuring me, Captain Bestie Boy, and my number one home slizzle, the Hippocrit Man.
I slizzle things on the barbecue.
And this week's chapter is chapter 842, The Power of Fullness. And we all feel full emotionally, intellectually, and narratively after reading this chapter.
Yes, is not. I think is just about as dense as the last one.
You know, when I read it at first, it felt thin, but then I read it again and I remembered. Oh wait, I'm an idiot. There was tons of shit in there.
There's loads of stuff, specifically with the Luffy fight.
That is true. There was a lot going on with that, and that is where the chapter starts. So it picks up right after last time. Let's get right into it. So Luffy has eaten a lot of that guy's biscuits, and I like it. It's funny to me that he's doing that.
It is very funny.
You know, the best part about it is how obviously uncomfortable Luffy is. He's like, oh, God, please, don't make me eat anymore. And they're like, you got to do it, Luffy. The only way to win is to eat. You got to eat to win.
Is that Nami saying that?
You got to eat to win. Yeah, I think it's mostly
that's
not.
Her voice?
She's the only one there. You got to eat to win, Luffy. You got to eat to win. That's her.
But yeah,
she's a bitch.
They've been fighting for I don't know how long. It seems like a very long time because there's later they say it's the next day or it's been nighttime or something. So they've been fighting all day. Yeah.
Fuck.
So
he's eating a lot of shit.
Yeah, he's definitely eating a lot of shit, and he's gotten super fat, and he's gonna take a big old dump later. That's
Luffy
gonna
doesn't
be
poop.
on a.
Does he poop rubber? Is that canon?
Oh,
Does
shit,
he
does
bouncy
that
balls?
bounce?
When he drops
Ooh, that's
dookies
not-
into
that-
the bowl, they bounce around.
It's
Probably.
gross, dude.
Well, they're not. What makes something poop? Is it the makeup of the material? Because if Luffy poops rubber balls, can they really be called poop?
I don't.
If they're
think
just
he
rubber
poops
balls.
Rubber balls, though. He is rubber. He doesn't make rubber.
Oda has confirmed his whole body is rubber.
Yeah,
I
but
guess his blood isn't rubber.
Poop
I guess.
just is stuff that he ate. It's not rubber. He doesn't turn it into rubber.
Well, when you eat food, some of it becomes you, some of it becomes poop. Where's the distinction, Oda? These are the answers I want. I hope he addresses this
Okay,
as soon as
let's
possible.
forget about this shit.
Okay.
Quite literal shit, and continue with the
true.
stuff.
Okay.
So King Baum, the big old tree guy, his head got chopped off somehow. I don't know. I like the fact
And
that
we missed that.
I kind of like the fact that shit has been happening, and you don't really need to know what happened. Some sliced him.
Yeah, I'll give you that. That's kind
It
of cool.
could have been the guy's sword, like, I don't know. Like, because Nami's
the pretzel sword.
Nami's using her card to force the whole forest against this guy. Maybe she's been trying to block, like, sword slices or with the big guy. Maybe she's been, like, forcing them to commit suicide and, to save her and stuff. I don't know what she's been doing, but it's working.
Because Cracker is pissed as fuck at the homies that they are helping Nami out, and King Baum's like, oh, I didn't mean to do it, and he's fucking Cracker's like, well, you're gonna fucking pay for this shit. All you little bitches are gonna die. You're gonna die.
Not my
when I
homies
tell Big
anymore.
Mom. Oh, that's very true. And of course, Nami. I think probably the only reason Luffy's even able to just like eat these biscuit guys, because I would imagine everyone who fights Cracker, their first instinct would be to try to eat it. I guess.
I'm not sure about that. I mean,
well, okay.
or people who
doesn't
realize
matter.
that Cracker is made of a cracker and not a guy.
But it seems that Luffy's only able to eat him because Nami has wet him down. It's
definitely made it
them.
easier to fight multiple of them while being that fat, I'm sure. Because I can't imagine he's that quick in that state.
Yeah, because, I mean, let's not forget, this is an 800 million berry guy. This guy is no joke. He is legit. So we should keep that in mind as we see Luffy doing this, like, goofy fight with the dude. So, yeah, I like seeing Luffy's appetite. And, I was saying this last time, I think. Seeing his appetite sort of be a force, I mean, it's kind of bullshit. Like, why not just punch him or whatever? But his appetite is helping him win this fight. That's cool. I could have executed a little bit better. Like, I wish his his eating them was like the real thing. Like, oh my god, no one's able to digest these guys, but he figured out like the only way to really beat them. Oh, it's like there's this episode of Powerpuff Girls from a million years ago where these broccoli aliens invade, and all the kids in town, like all the adults get like captured or something. All that's left, yeah. And when you punch them, because the Powerpuff Girls' first instinct is just punch them and they explode, they just reform. But if you bite them and if you eat your vegetables, if you eat the broccoli boys, they don't regenerate. So you got to eat them to beat them. It's great. It's great.
Well,
but that's not quite what's happening here.
I'm not sure why you think this isn't really good. Like, I mean...
But why doesn't Luffy just punch him? You know, they're already weakened.
He tried to. He tried to punch them and he makes more of them.
But what's different about eating them? Can he not control biscuits inside Luffy's body?
Yeah, maybe. I think maybe he's like, the biscuits that get crumbled, they can reform or snap back together or something.
Oh, okay, maybe it's this, because the idea is they're trying to, because Biscuit said before, I can make infinite biscuits, or Cracker said I can make infinite biscuits, and they were like, I bet you look like you're trying a little hard to make all these, so maybe by consuming them all, to remove all the biscuit men that he's making, all the guys that he's making, like he has to make more. Yeah, okay, you know what? That makes sense. Better than I thought. Good job, Oda. Good job, Luffy.
So yeah, Nami uses a weather egg. I can't remember if we've seen that before.
Oh, actually, I happened to look that up because I was wondering about that too, and she used it on Punk Hazard once.
Okay. So
at least in the anime.
It's like doing her cloud tempo, but in a ball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's cute. I like it.
Yeah. So stuff is happening. This one panel, when he's biting into the thing, looks kind of scary.
Well, because he's weeping with pain. Oh god, I don't want to eat anymore, but I have to.
But not only that, but like his jaw is like incredibly huge, and his teeth also are enlarged, and it doesn't look like Luffy at all.
There's a lot of that I really like this part of the chapter, because Luffy, he doesn't look like himself. He is fucking in agony right now, being forced to eat. We've never seen Luffy not want to eat before, or been it being a painful experience to eat. He is tortured. He's like, oh god, please, Nami, don't. I can't fucking do it. But she's like, you gotta do it, dog. It's the only way. And so he's forced himself. So Luffy's believe it or not, Luffy's being a real badass right now. This is hardcore Pirate King in the making stuff we're seeing right now.
Yeah,
it takes chutzpah.
The legend of the big, huge, fat war. Battle of attrition, whatever you call it.
Exactly.
So then we're switching over to briefly to Chopper and Carrot in the Mirror World, who have been... Yeah, this is why it's weird, the timing, because like... They said last night they saw these two in the mirror. These people that, you know, like Chopper and Carrot have been going around doing shit, spooking people for all night, and it wasn't even night when they got here, so they've been there for a day and a night. So it's weird how much time has passed. It doesn't feel like.
Are you sure about that? I'm getting confused by this timeline now.
Well, okay, it was nighttime.
It says meanwhile, so this is happening at the same time of the beginning events of the chapter. It says meanwhile, so these two things.
This is what I'm thinking though, like that they arrived when it was daytime.
Yeah.
And stuff was happening then. So I guess that battle with Luffy has been lasting all day and then all night, and now it's morning again. Because now it's the next day, and now that Sanji has to go to the wedding, because the day is the wedding.
Are you sure that night happened?
I mean, that's why it's confusing, because they didn't show night happening.
Oh, hang on. You're right. I went to the last page of last chapter, and it says 11 hours since the beginning of the battle between Luffy and Cracker.
Okay,
so
I completely missed that, but yeah, now it makes sense.
Yep. Okay, well, you are absolutely right.
It is quite interesting that so much time has been skipped. So much stuff that might not have been seen.
I mean, we see Chopper and Carrot running around in the mirror, spooking people, which is hilarious. And, like, the legend has begun to spread among the populace of these spooky dudes. But, I mean, we see Brûlée chasing them with a scythe, which is hilarious. But this is, like, the first we've seen of her in the mirror world, so we don't know how long they've been, like, running from her specifically. Yeah. And I assume they're gonna... I mean, they haven't... It's been 11 hours. They need to get their shit together and, like, execute whatever plan they're hatching in there.
Yeah, because, like, when they got there, they had, like, 1 day or 2 days to get Sanji out. And now it's already, like, the wedding is happening.
Yeah, it's
And
today, I'm
they've
pretty
been
sure.
fucking around. Luffy's been fighting Cracker. Chopper and Carrot have been running around with their, like, balls,
Cannonballs,
chained to their legs. Presumably not with any plan, they're just running.
Right now they're just freaking out and running around.
Yeah, so I'm wondering, so much time has passed, we haven't seen Brook or Pedro yet. They must have done something. There must be some big reveal with them
because
two.
the last time we saw them, they were sneaking into the palace.
Yeah.
They probably already have that poneglyph.
They have their plan.
Yeah.
Probably. They have a plan.
See, they're the most
ready.
interesting guys. I want to know what they're up to right now. They're the cool guys.
Yeah. So now,
So yeah, they're doing their shit. So now we go to Sanji. So first of all, he does this weird face mask thing, which is like, what the fuck is that about?
weird technology. I didn't really understand it, because she puts it on, and then she says something like, that face mask prevents your face from swelling, which means it interferes with your body's natural healing process, so it will be sensitive to the touch and won't repair itself until it's removed.
This
So
whole
basically,
thing
it's
is
like
so weird.
It's like a temporary mask that doesn't actually heal you, I guess.
I don't know why Oda is putting so much time into these details that don't matter, because he just as easily could have just had Sanji not with a fucked up face now, and no one would have questioned it. Like, all the time in One Piece, we see Luffy get beat up by Nami, have a big swollen face. Next panel, he's fine. So,
I think
it's been 11 hours.
It might, like it feels
It might
like
come up.
It might
come up.
come up in some way, like a mask that can just make you look like Sanji.
You know, it
Ooh.
does remind me. Oh,
What
hey,
if-
yeah, that could. Oh my God. Oh my God, that's brilliant. That's
Yeah?
exactly what's gonna happen.
Yeah?
Holy shit. You
It's-
figured it out, you beautiful hippo man. That's gotta be it. There's no other reason he'd take the time to do that. Oh my God. And it was Reiju whose idea was to use it in the first place.
Yep.
She's cooking up a plan. That's what's going on.
I don't know
Oh
whether
my
she's cooking up a
God.
plan, but she might be persuaded to use that mask in the plan.
Okay, Oda took the time to establish that she's a good guy and's on Sanji's side. I guarantee that this is part of a plan to help him out, even though she does this lecture about, like, oh, why'd you come back, you fat motherfucker, idiot, piece of shit, brother? Why is you stupid? You should have known this should happen. But she is gonna fucking pull a switcheroo
Maybe
and
she
use
wears
this face.
the Sanji mask.
What about those big old floppy tits of hers? How's she gonna hide that shit?
They have boob masks as well.
Female and male anatomy in One Piece is extremely
like,
different.
I'm just thinking...
Their waists are so small.
That is true.
It doesn't make sense. It does make sense.
But the introduction of this mask thing, like the science level, they could probably do something like a body complete changeroo.
You know what this reminds me of? Complete aside, Sanji put on that face mask and is leaning in front of a mirror on the next panel. It reminds me of that scene at the very beginning of American Psycho with Patrick Bateman peeling off the face mask. I have nothing but disgust for my fellow man. I feel only hatred and rage. That's what he's thinking right now, I'm sure.
Right. Well,
Anyway.
now we're getting to the part that you wanted to talk about.
Yeah. So Reiju says, she asked the question. The
Yeah.
$1 trillion question we've all been wondering for 1,000 chapters. Sanji, what's up with the chivalry, my nigga? What's going on with that shit? And Sanji, it's like, let me think. Into his dreamscape history lesson. Okay. I gotta pull up my fucking notes for this. I had to write down a ton of shit to say. This took research to fully articulate, like, these 2 pages of information, like 1 full page, because it's only like 2/3 of each page. But so she asked the question, where's the chivalry come from? Flashback. Sanji got it from Zeff. Okay, so that's the first thing we see. Sanji's flashing back. He's in the kitchen talking with Zeff. Zeff says, like, they're complaining, apparently, the chefs of the Barati, that why aren't there any, sexy female chefs who work with us? And Zeff says, I don't do that because if every cook I train, I beat the shit out of, because that's my teaching method, and I don't beat up women. And so far, no problem. That is totally fine. But why don't you beat up women? What's your motivation for that? That's what really matters here. And so Sanji just asks, so, isn't it okay to just slap the shit out of them? They're people too. And what do we fucking get from Zeff? This is it. This is the line that has shaped Sanji's life for all time. Here we go. Sanji, I am Zeff, your parent figure. Men are not meant to kick women. This is a direct quote. Yeah. That's an ironclad rule of this universe since before the time of dinosaurs. So, okay. Oh, and he says, Sanji, if you fuck this up, I will slice off your balls and kill myself. And why? And why is this the case? Because that's my duty, and that's what it means to be your damn parent. So here we go. Call me crazy for hoping that Oda would have some more thoughtful insight into Sanji and his, the person who turned out to be his mentor on this matter, their views on gender. But now, okay, what we got here is, that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is the full explanation we are given here, which is exactly the same as saying, whatever you think, audience, that's what we think. That's it. You can project your own thoughts onto this. It is a complete cop-out and sidesteps the entire issue. It is pure intellectual cowardice. I've been waiting years to hear this reason, and as it turns out, once again, it was turtles all the fucking way down.
All right.
I am disgusted by this.
I don't think it's cowardice or it's deliberately choose your own interpretation.
What do you think?
I think what it is that everyone was expecting it to be some big thing, and then Oda was like, well, what if he's just an old-fashioned guy who thinks about women as lower than him, as like, oh, they're damsels, they got to be protected, or maybe something, I don't know, maybe he had a wife, I don't know, why he turned to piracy. It could be more to Zeff. We don't know. But
okay, yeah.
There's reasons why he would just be a sort of a guy who just doesn't like hitting women, and then Sanji likes Zeff and wants to be like Zeff, so that's it. And that's all the explanation that wouldn't be needed for it to be something. It doesn't have to be like a big, oh my god, wow, sort of moment.
I understand that is absolutely true, and in the real world, there isn't often like big dramatic reveals, and even putting aside the fact that, like, even in the context of One Piece, sometimes you don't need a big, heavy-duty, like, bum, dun explanation moment. Like, this is the moment when things happened. But this whole flashback sequence has felt so cheap. Just, like, so disappointing on every level. And what really gets to me, and I was going to get to this in a minute, but I'll just go straight to it now. This whole flashback has been like, he got like 2 chapters of flashback shit. Meanwhile, and that goes into his, it does answer the questions, but it's like, Sanji, why'd you do that shit? 1 page later, because, this whatever, reasonable, whatever reason, Zeff said so, and so I do it. And it's defined my entire life. But fucking Law got like 7 chapters! 7 fucking chapters! And don't be confused, people, Law is an insignificant fucking character. Sanji is a character we see like every fucking chapter, and he is so much more important. Why in God's name would you spend so little time on Sanji compared to Law's flashback? There's no justification for it. It's driving me fucking insane. There's nothing. Okay, and you're absolutely right. There are explanations for Sanji's character. Like, the questions have been answered. That's true. But, like, reading All Blue in a book...
Yeah,
that's lame. That's just lame. Is my complaint is that this is lame. I'm bored. I'm bored by the explanation, and I feel like it's cheap.
All right. I mean, that's fair enough. It is kind of like It feels weird that he would just go and like have her ask that question at this particular time for no particular reason. Just like, hey, by the way, why are you a chivalrous guy now? I don't get it.
Why couldn't, there were so many opportunities to do this. Like, why instead just don't do this now, do what Oda always does. Get to, the climax of the arc, where it comes down to, Sanji has to fight Big Mom. He has to do it.
Ooh.
She's a woman. And, it's a big thing. And what we do then is we have a flashback at that point, like Oda does all the time at the climax of an arc.
Well, you know what? That
like he did with
still
Law.
Happen, but I guess there's nothing else to show.
It can't, because that's the thing. He's played his hand. We know the cards. Because if he had done it then, he could have done something with his mom, and at that point explained what happened to her, and he could have done something about and this is why I don't hit women. I'm just asking for a little bit more than there's no reason. Just don't do it.
The fact that this flashback exists is kind of it's making sure that it can't happen again, because at this point he's on the Bharati restaurant ship, and his mother's dead and is gone and has been gone for a while, so there's not much there's nothing that can happen to, like, we can't flash back to his mom.
We're done.
To
Yeah.
find out if he, like, becomes more chivalrous because of her.
Like,
Because
if
he
that
wasn't
happens,
at this point.
if that happens, then it'll just be like, okay, then what the fuck was that last flashback for?
Yeah.
So either this is a meaningless flashback, or this is all we get. And like, yeah, there is a reason, but it's just so fucking lame. And there is no reason here. It's just, you know, Zeff looks down on women, because I'm sorry, but this is a sexist view that has no explanation. When Sanji was fucking getting the shit beat out of him by Khalifa during fucking Water 7, I was just, he planted the seed that something awesome was going to be delivered years down the line.
Technically sexist, but it just doesn't, it doesn't feel sexist. It's just an old-fashioned viewpoint.
I don't really mind Sanji's view, but I do mind Zeff's, because Zeff's is bullshit. And, okay, you know what? Before I even get into that, there's another issue here, just tied into this. So, the research I was saying about this was I went and read, once again, the whole Barati flashback, you know, when Sanji was a kid and got rescued by Zeff. So, okay, so here we got Zeff, right? A real lover of women. Like, he really puts the pussy up on a pedestal. He's just, you know, he'll do anything to protect him. He wouldn't hurt a woman, ever. But okay, when Zeff was a fucking pirate and robbed, just as one example, Sanji's ship, the Orbit, that he was the, you know, little chef boy on, what does his crew do but fucking rob every man, woman, and child on the ship, including women? And there are clear shots of his crew fucking assaulting women, stealing their purses and valuables. They take everything from them. And like, he doesn't, he's watching this happen.
Do they attack, like, beat them up, though?
Okay, I looked into it, and the woman that they steal the purse from is fine. She's standing there in like a couple panels, apparently not hurt. What, you can assault women, but like,
well,
you
he's
can't.
A pirate. You can
but here's
steal
the thing,
their money,
though.
But you can't beat them up. That's mean.
This feels so inserted where it was never intended to begin, because we see his crew assault women. Meanwhile, he sees one crewman, and this is what really does it. He sees, you know, a crewman steal a small bag of food and freaks out. Meanwhile, all the women on the ship get assaulted and robbed, and he doesn't care. He's like, whatever, that's not important to me. Meanwhile, this flashback is trying to pretend that, oh, he always cared about women so much. That was always his big thing. No, they're just inserting it where it never was intended from the start, and it's it's cheap. It's cheap.
I have to agree with you on this one. I mean, especially the fact that Sanji's face afterwards is very serious, and he's like that was supposed to be a very, like, important memory for him, and I'm like,
I mean, for me, because it was so short, like 1.5 pages, it felt really cheap. Like, he didn't really think about this that much. Just like, whatever, I gotta put something in here. And by the way, about the flashback thing, so Sanji's ship went down, and all the passengers on that and Zeff's crew died, and Zeff apparently chose to save Sanji instead of any of the women on that ship. Oh, where are your priorities now, Zeff? What's the deal with that? I thought you only cared about women as opposed to men. I thought you would rather have a man sacrifice his life for women. You fucking sexist fuck. You are a piece of shit. I like Zeff less now. Oda has made me like Zeff significantly less with this shit. It's inconsistent and bullshit, and I hate it. This is so stupid.
It is
big,
kind of stupid.
Not good. Oh God.
I didn't really know what to think after reading it. It was like, okay, I guess the reason is very bland, and
even if you don't, even putting aside all, like you said, even putting aside all my big complaints there, at the very best, it's just bland and does not do justice, in my view, to like all the
one thing I was
all
gonna
the stuff
say
about
is like. It appears, because like what I was thinking was that Oda knows that people were like theorizing that it was the mother that was the reason, and so he put this in here to show that it wasn't actually a big thing. But that's
this
kind
is
of a
an
meta
answer question.
That's like a cheeky sort of joke, but it's a meta joke, and in the context of the chapter, it's just sort of weirdly uninteresting and also serious. I don't get it.
I really, really, really don't like it at all. It feels, this is like the worst kind of writing that you could do for this. Feels arbitrary, feels forced, and like, okay, so like Sanji's past about like his weirdness. Like Mr. Prince from the North Blue, what was he doing as a chef on that ship? We didn't know any of that. Like, now we're getting this flashback to explain all that as a big payoff. But his other character trait of like the whole woman thing, I felt was even more of a mystery and was more interesting to me, and gets this much lesser little caveat, along the way. And I just don't feel it's doing it the justice that it deserves. That's my real complaint at the end of the day. Yes, it makes sense. And yes, like him, liking all blue because his mom died. He loved cooking. He read it in a book. He got really into that shit. It makes sense. I just don't think that it's entertaining, as I've come to expect, these sorts of deliverables years later on these big mysteries to be. And I think Oda could do better. And maybe he'll clarify, but if so, then he just fucked up along the way.
Yeah, it was kind of... If he does clarify and makes it better, why didn't he do it here? It's just...
Yeah.
What else could he
I don't think he will,
say?
though.
I mean, unless there's like a big twist that something else happened, but then it would feel like a pointless insertion of a new thing and then this would be even more redundant.
It sure would be.
So, yeah.
Well, we'll see.
So forget about that for now. That's whatever.
I'm not prepared to just say that, like, maybe he'll fix it and forget about it. I'm marking this down as, like, demerit. Big demerit on you, Oda. Big X on your name for today's class work. But, look,
what happens
there's
next
other things.
is a lot more interesting, because they got the Nazi cat pulls 66.
I like that cat. He's cool.
He's a pretty cool horse cat.
He looks really smug, which I like a lot.
And
cool.
they're going, all of them are going on the journey to the wedding, I guess.
Yeah, they look cool as fuck.
While Luffy is fucking still fighting Cracker, and he's getting fatter, and he's getting tireder, and...
Yep.
Yeah, what happens next is pretty fucking the best.
It's great. It really is great. You want to describe it? Yeah, you do it.
Okay, so he goes Gear 4th while he's in this big fat mode, and he becomes Tankman, full version.
Yeah.
Which is...
it's so cool. He's a big cannonball boy.
He is. It's the stupidest looking thing I've ever seen. But it's, just like with most of Oda's stupid things, they look amazing also.
This really reminds me of... This is like a power-up that's retarded, but also has utility. It's once again, it's that old blend in One Piece of, like, goofy and actually awesome. Like, even Bound Man, just normal Gear 4th, he can't stop bouncing. He bounces, which is hilarious. But, like, this really reminds me of, like, Water Luffy from when he was fighting Crocodile in Alabasta a million years ago. When he just drank a bunch of water and was just a big fat water boy. And, like, you'd think that I wouldn't be able to fight like that, but actually that was a much better way to fight Crocodile and helped him get him a few shots. And, This is another thing. This has real utility.
Yeah, and I'm glad that it's showing that he can be Gear 4th without being just the same Gear 4th thing. Like, what if he combines Gear 4th and Gear 3? Like, that would be...
Oh, yeah.
Like,
well, he's done that before, hasn't he?
I'm not sure. Maybe he's done, like, Gear 3,
when he did the
like,
finishing attack
gun.
when he did the finishing attack on Doflamingo, I think that he blew into his arms, like, to make him even bigger as Gear 4th. Yeah. And did like a special attack, but
I just like the idea that he can be multiple shapes, even with Gear 4th, because I don't want it to be just one.
Yeah.
Like if he just does Gear 5, it's like he's going into like Super Saiyan 6 level sort of redundancy.
But by the way, I see that there's smoke around Luffy's body as he's Tankman, so it leads me to think that like Gear 4th is like Gear 2nd, because Gear 2nd's big thing was like there's smoke around him and he turns red. So like. I would bet that this uses, like, the same technique as Gear 2nd, whatever capacity that is.
Yeah,
but nonetheless,
so.
Nonetheless, this is awesome. And he tries to stab him, but like he's both hard and soft. I don't know what's going on, but it looks awesome.
Yeah, the hard soft thing is, I'm not sure how to understand.
It's kind of disgusting, but I love it also.
It is kind of disgusting, but like I'm not sure how it works, because it's hard, so it can't get pierced. But his belly. I'm not sure whether his belly's supposed to be soft because it's supposed to be stuffed.
Is it a rubber thing? I don't know.
Like, his belly's completely stuffed. You would think it would be hard because of all the cracker that he's got inside him.
Yeah, you would.
But I guess
I don't know.
The Gear 4th metabolism is like melting it away. I don't know.
Yeah, hey, that sort of makes sense, I guess. Anyway, he does this attack called Cannonball when he stabs him and he stabs him and he kind of spits him back out of his stomach and he goes flying apparently so fast, like through a bunch of his cracker boys, that he gets all fucked up.
Yeah,
and Luffy has beaten, as of right now, an 800 million berry guy. He has beaten one of Big Mom's number 2s, one of her big lieutenant guys. Yeah. So this is his biggest win to date, as far as I'm concerned.
It was after an 11-hour fight though, but
True.
Yeah. So Luffy, I'm thinking, after this Gear 4th stuff, that he's gonna go small, or he's gonna at least not be fat anymore.
He seems to have... Oh, yeah. He might just burn it off real fast or something. I'd be okay with Oda, keeping him super fat for a while. Oh,
yeah.
Whoa. I got it. There's always a thing every arc that, keeps Luffy busy until the end when he can finally fight the final boss. This is it. He's gonna be big fat boy. Yeah, for a while.
I had the suggestion last time that he would just have a nap because he's so full.
Oh yeah, right.
So he might actually do that.
I believe it.
But it kind of does remind me of a Skypiea where he has the big gold thing on his arm.
Yeah, me too.
Just like a big lumbering mass. Except it's him this time.
It's him. He is the ball. Man, this is hilarious. He's just a big fat boy. I love it. It's the coolest thing ever. Yeah. He's so fat now. It's awesome. It really is great. Okay, well, I've got nothing else to say. How about you? Closing thoughts?
I'm just gonna go back a few pages, see...
Mm-hmm.
No, I think that's it. It's just the Luffy fight was really cool. Mm-hmm. The Sanji bit was disappointing, and the implication that they've been doing it for 11 hours is promising for the Brook and Pedro, whatever they're doing.
I'm most interested right now to see what Brook and Pedro get up to, Chopper and Carrot end up doing from the Mirror Place, and also I still want to see the resolution to the Jinbei Big Mom thing, whatever that fucking shit was about, and Caesar, was doing some crazy shit I can't exactly remember, but he had a deadline, or he was gonna fucking die. I can't wait to see what's up with Caesar.
Oh, yeah.
Sometime soon, yeah.
And also,
it's been a while since we saw
that thing you mentioned with Sanji having to fight Big Mom, I'm not sure whether he would actually punch her or whatever, but if he does a thing ladies shouldn't be hit speech in front of her, I want to see how that works.
With the only important female character in the series. That's true. That's accurate. There's no other woman that's even remotely relevant. This is the time for Sanji to get his moments of doing something cool. Well, she's in the crew, so she doesn't count. I mean, antagonists. This is the time for Sanji to do something cool with chivalry, because I guarantee he will never ever be this relevant ever again. This is it for Sanji. In the next 7 years, when the series finally wraps up, he will never be this important again. This is the chance to make his arc come full circle in whatever way Oda intends. So please don't waste it, Oda. Do justice to Sanji. And I think he can. Even despite the missteps this chapter, I do believe in Oda overall, and I think he's got some good things cooking. So we will see. I can't wait.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
See ya.